Right now, your engine is running on bad data. Not because something broke, because 5 sensors that nobody ever cleans are sending wrong information to your engine computer on every single drive. These sensors control fuel delivery, ignition timing, transmission shift points, and boost pressure. When they're dirty, your computer compensates by running richer, pulling timing and shifting at the wrong points. You lose power, burn more gas, and start getting check engine codes that point to expensive parts that aren't even the problem. A shop sees those codes and quotes you $800 to $2,000 in parts and labor. The actual fix is a can of cleaner in 15 minutes. Here are the 5 sensors, what they do, what goes wrong when they're dirty, and exactly how to clean each one yourself. The MAF sensor. This is the big one. Your mass airflow sensor sits between the air filter and the throttle body. Inside it, there's a platinum wire, thinner than a human hair, that measures exactly how much air is entering your engine. Your engine computer uses that measurement to calculate how much fuel to inject on every single combustion cycle. When that wire gets coated in dust, oil vapor from the PCV system, and microscopic particles that slip past the air filter, it starts underreading airflow. The computer thinks less air is coming in, so it injects less fuel. Now you're running lean. You get hesitation on acceleration, rough idle, poor fuel economy, and eventually a check engine light with code P0171 or P0174, system running lean. Here's the problem. A shop sees that lean code and starts recommending oxygen sensors at $400 to $600 each, fuel injector cleaning at $200, or catalytic converter inspection. They skip the $20 diagnostic step that would identify the actual cause. The MAF sensor is sending bad data, and everything downstream is reacting to that bad data. Clean the source and the symptoms disappear. The fix costs $8. Buy a can of CRC MAF sensor cleaner at any auto parts store. Not brake cleaner, not carb cleaner, not WD-40. Those leave residue that destroys the sensing element, and now you're buying a new sensor for $150 to $300. Turn off the engine. Unplug the electrical connector. Remove the 2 or 3 screws holding the sensor in the intake tube, usually T20 or T25 Torx. Slide it out carefully. Spray 3 short bursts directly on the wire element. Let it evaporate between each burst. Never touch the element with anything, and let it air dry for 5 minutes. Reinstall, reconnect, and disconnect your battery for 10 minutes to clear the old fuel trim adaptations. When you start the engine, let it idle for 2 minutes without touching the gas. The computer relearns airflow based on the now clean sensor. If your MAF was dirty, you'll feel the difference on your next drive. Smoother idle, crisper throttle, and your fuel economy will start improving within a tank or 2. Clean it every 30,000 miles as preventive maintenance, and you'll never have this problem in the first place. The MAP sensor. Most people have never heard of this one, and some mechanics confuse it with the MAF because the names sound similar. They measure different things. MAP stands for manifold absolute pressure. Instead of measuring airflow directly, it measures the pressure inside your intake manifold. Your computer uses that pressure reading to calculate air density and adjust fuel delivery accordingly. Not every vehicle has both sensors. Some older cars and many turbocharged engines use a MAP sensor instead of a MAF. Some modern engines run both simultaneously. If your car has a turbo, the MAP sensor is critical because it's also monitoring boost pressure. A dirty MAP sensor on a turbocharged engine means the computer can't see boost correctly. The turbo feels like it's not there. Power drops, and fuel trims go haywire. The symptoms overlap with MAF problems: rough idle, poor acceleration, bad fuel economy, but there's one symptom that points specifically to the MAP sensor: surging under sustained load. You're on the highway at steady throttle and the engine pulses rhythmically. Not misfiring, just surging. That's the MAP sensor, losing pressure signal. A shop sees codes P0105 through P0108 and quotes a new MAP sensor at $150 to $300. But here's what they skip. The MAP sensor connects to the intake manifold through a vacuum line or a direct port. That connection gets clogged with carbon and oil residue over time. A blocked passage means a bad pressure reading. Clean the passage with compressed air, and a thin pick takes 2 minutes. Spray the sensor element with MAF sensor cleaner. Same product works on both sensors. Let it dry, reinstall. If the vacuum line is cracked or soft, replace it for $1. That's it. Before anyone quotes you a MAP sensor replacement, check the port and the line first. The throttle position sensor. This one gets misdiagnosed as a transmission problem more than anything else. The TPS sits on your throttle body and monitors exactly how far open the throttle plate is at any moment. When you press the gas, the TPS tells the computer how much and how fast. The computer uses that data to calculate fuel delivery, ignition timing, and transmission shift points. That last part is why it gets confused with transmission issues. When the TPS sends erratic data, the transmission shifts at the wrong time. Too early, too late, or a hard clunk between gears. It feels exactly like a failing transmission. A shop runs a scan, sees erratic throttle data, and starts talking transmission service at $300 minimum just to diagnose. Some quote, a full transmission rebuild. The actual problem is almost never the TPS sensor itself. It's the throttle body. Over 50 to 60,000 miles, carbon builds up on the butterfly valve and the bore. That carbon physically interferes with smooth throttle movement. The plate sticks slightly, releases, sticks again. The TPS reads that inconsistent movement accurately. It's just reporting what's actually happening. The fix is a $6 can of throttle body cleaner in 20 minutes. Disconnect the intake duct to expose the throttle body. Spray the cleaner on the butterfly valve and bore walls. Wipe the carbon off with a soft rag. Pay attention to where the valve seats against the bore. That's where the worst buildup collects. On drive-by-wire cars, never force the valve open manually, or you'll damage the electric motor. After cleaning, reconnect everything and start the car. It'll idle rough for 10 to 15 minutes while the computer relearns the airflow parameters. That's normal. Once it relearns, smooth idle and crisp throttle response come back. If the TPS itself is actually damaged, which is rare, replacement runs $100 to $250. But clean the throttle body first. That fixes 70% of TPS-related complaints without touching the sensor. The crankshaft position sensor. This is the one that causes the most dramatic symptoms and the most expensive misdiagnoses. The CKP sensor sits near the bottom of the engine and monitors the crankshaft as it rotates. It tells the computer exactly where each piston is in its cycle at any given millisecond. Ignition timing and fuel injection timing both depend entirely on this sensor. When it starts failing, the symptoms are terrifying. Engine cranks, but won't start. Or it starts fine cold, runs perfectly for 20 minutes, then stalls at a red light and won't restart for half an hour. Then it starts again, like nothing happened. That heat-related intermittent stall is the signature CKP symptom. People panic. They tow the car to the dealer. The technician scans it, sees no crank signal, and starts talking timing chain problems, internal engine damage, worst-case scenarios. The customer authorizes a $2,000 diagnostic deep dive because their car won't start and they're scared. A CKP sensor costs $40 to $120. Labor is 1 hour max because it's externally mounted. Total repair at an honest shop, $150 to $250. But before even replacing it, check the connector. The CKP connector lives in a brutal environment, low on the engine, exposed to road debris, oil spray, and constant heat cycling. The pins corrode. Corrosion creates electrical resistance. Resistance creates intermittent signal loss. Clean the connector with electrical contact cleaner. Apply dielectric grease to prevent future corrosion. Reconnect. Sometimes that's the entire fix. A $3 repair for a symptom shop's, quote, $2,000 to diagnose. There's another thing that gets missed, the reluctor wheel, the toothed ring attached to the crankshaft that the sensor reads. If that wheel picks up metallic debris or develops a damaged tooth, the sensor sends erratic signals, even though the sensor itself is perfectly fine. The shop replaces the sensor, the problem comes back, and the customer pays twice. Before you authorize anything on a CKP issue, have the connector cleaned and the reluctor wheel inspected. Those two steps eliminate most intermittent no-start complaints. The oxygen sensors. Your car has at least two O2 sensors, one upstream before the catalytic converter and one downstream after it. The upstream sensor measures oxygen levels in the exhaust and sends that data to the computer in real time. The computer uses it to fine-tune the air-fuel ratio, constantly adjusting richer or leaner based on what the sensor reports. When the upstream sensor gets lazy from age and contamination, its response time slows down. Instead of switching between rich and lean 60 times per second, it might switch 20 times. The computer can't make fine adjustments anymore, so the fuel mixture is constantly slightly wrong. You lose fuel economy, get rough idle, and eventually trigger lean or rich codes. O2 sensors are the most replaced sensor in the automotive industry. Shops love them because the part sounds technical and the labor sounds justified. Code P0171 pops up, the technician says oxygen sensor failure, and quotes 400 to 600 per sensor. Some cars have 4 of them. But a lean code doesn't mean the O2 sensor failed. It means the computer detected a lean condition. That lean condition could be caused by a dirty MAF sensor, a vacuum leak, low fuel pressure, a clogged fuel filter, or a dirty throttle body. The O2 sensor is just reporting what it sees. Now, unlike the other 4 sensors on this list, O2 sensors can't really be cleaned and restored to full function. The sensing element degrades chemically over time, and cleaning doesn't reverse that. But here's the critical point. Before you let anyone replace an O2 sensor, make sure the other 4 sensors on this list are clean first. A dirty MAF sensor causes lean codes that look exactly like O2 sensor failure. A dirty throttle body causes erratic fuel trims that trigger O2 codes. If you replace the O2 sensor but the MAF is still dirty, the new sensor will throw the same code within a few months because it's accurately reading the bad combustion caused by bad air data upstream. Clean everything else first. If the code comes back after that, then the O2 sensor actually needs replacing. That sequence alone saves people hundreds of dollars in unnecessary O2 sensor replacements every day. 5 sensors, 4 of them fixable with a can of cleaner and basic tools. The 5th one, the O2 sensor, is often misdiagnosed because nobody checks the other 4 first. Every rough idle, every hesitation, every check engine light starts with data. Bad data in, bad decisions out. Your engine computer is only as smart as the information it receives. Feed it clean data and it runs your engine the way it was designed to run. That's not a $2,000 repair, that's an afternoon and $30 in cleaning supplies. And while you're at it, there's a 6th sensor worth knowing about that most people never think of. The engine coolant temperature sensor, or ECT. It tells the computer what temperature the engine is running at. The computer uses that data to control fuel enrichment during cold starts, cooling fan activation, and in some cars, transmission shift firmness. When the ECT sensor gets corroded or develops a poor connection, it can send the wrong temperature reading. If it tells the computer the engine is colder than it actually is, the computer keeps running the rich cold start fuel mixture even after the engine is warmed up. You waste gas, foul your spark plugs, and your catalytic converter works overtime processing unburned fuel. If it reads hotter than actual, the computer leans out the mixture too aggressively and triggers the cooling fans when they're not needed. The ECT sensor itself costs $10 to $30, and on most cars, it's a 15-minute replacement. But before you replace it, clean the connector and check for corrosion the same way you would with the CKP sensor. The ECT connector sits in a hot, wet environment near the thermostat housing and corrodes constantly. A corroded connector gives bad readings that mimic a failed sensor. Clean it, apply dielectric grease, and reconnect. That might be all it needs. Here's your maintenance schedule. Every 30,000 miles, clean the MAF sensor and the MAP sensor port. Every 50,000 miles, clean the throttle body. Every time you notice a rough idle or hesitation, check the CKP and ECT connectors for corrosion before you do anything else. That routine costs you less than $20 a year in cleaning products and eliminates the vast majority of drivability complaints that shops charge hundreds or thousands to diagnose. Your engine computer is the smartest part of your car. It just needs clean data to do its job.